Hello, everyone. Alan Shields here, Chief of Police for the town. We're 10-8 in service, which means we're here to make people's lives better. We do that by safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of everyone we serve. Spoiler alert, this is the last episode as I'm retiring, and so this will be the last one. But we've had a phenomenal December. Typically, if you look at crime trends, I'd say over the last 5 or 6 years, November, December, and January, we tend to get hit pretty hard with various types of thefts. This time that didn't happen. So we're going to cover from December 2nd all the way through. So let's check that out. But first, as always, download the Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation Guide. Make sure that you also download the FEMA All Hazards Guide. Sign up for the Community Warning System through the Contra Costa County Office of the Sheriff. And log into the PG&E website. That way you get information when the power goes out so you know what's going on and when the power is going to get restored. Like I said at the top of the show, I'm going to be retiring, so I'm going to be stepping down as Chief of Police, and Tom Rosberg, Lieutenant, soon to be Chief, will be taking over. If he looks familiar, it's because he used to work here. He was one of our patrol officers. He worked K-9 while he was here, and then he did some time over in Lafayette as an investigation supervisor, and then worked our Office of Emergency Services, among many other assignments with the Sheriff's Office. That's a great thing about all of us at the Sheriff's Office. When you work for the Sheriff, you work a lot of different assignments and you get a lot of diverse experience that you can bring to bear right here in Danville. All right. As always, communitycrimemap.com. So this is kind of important since this is the last show for 10-8. This is where you can get information at your fingertips when you want. And you can also set up alerts for your neighborhood so you can know what's going on in your neighborhood. You can also get sexual offender registry information there as well. Now, this is amazing. This is amazing because almost a whole month's worth of collisions are on one slide. So let's go through this. On the 7th, we had a rear end collision with minor injuries, and this was on the 600 block of Diablo Road. On the 10th, we had a 2-vehicle non-injury collision. This was on the 700 block of Highbridge Lane. On the 19th, a 2-vehicle non-injury collision, and this was a little fender bender in the parking lot of the Diablo Vista Middle School. This one wasn't so great. This was an auto versus bike collision. This was where the cyclist was injured. And this is on San Ramon Valley Boulevard near Town and Country. And to describe what happened is the car, typically you have in the roadway, let's say be specific, not typical. Specifically on San Ramon Valley Boulevard, you have a lane going north. That's your number 1 lane. Another lane going north. That's your number 2 lane. So you have 2 lanes for vehicles. Right next to it, you have the little lane that's meant for bicycle traffic, and they have the green paint in there that says it is the bike lane. That is effectively a 3rd lane of traffic. What happened was there was a cyclist traveling in that direction, and the car turned, I'm going to do it the opposite way, turned right in front of the cyclist, causing that collision. And that's not an uncommon, in fact, it's so not uncommon that it's got its own name. It's called the right hook. And if you're a cyclist, you'll know what that is. But it's essentially when a car turns right in front of that cyclist. We see it a lot when cars are turning into intersections or driveways. So just the reason I went into detail on that is I just want the drivers to be aware of that. Cyclists, as you're approaching these intersections and driveways, just give a good look over your shoulder and see if there's any hazards coming your way. On the 20th, we had a rear-end non-injury collision, and this was at Front Street and Prospect Avenue. And then on the 20th, we had another 2-vehicle collision on San Ramon Valley Boulevard near Town and Country. On the 24th, we had an auto versus pedestrian collision. This is where the pedestrian was injured. And this is on Camino Ramon at St. Thomas Way. And then on the 29th, we had a car into a tree on Sycamore Valley Road and Brookside Drive with minor injuries. And on the 30th, we had a vehicle into a light pole on Liverpool Street in Westwich. That was early in the morning. So those was no injuries. So that, for a whole month of accidents, that's not bad. That doesn't mean that during that time there weren't other accidents. I've said this before. These are the ones where an officer actually takes a report. We require that our officers take reports if there's a collision that involves injuries, fatalities, crimes like hit and run, DUI, or if there's a dispute over who's at fault. So we don't take all of the accidents, but we probably take anywhere from half to 2/3 of them. We average somewhere in the neighborhood of about 280 to 320 accidents per year, and that's the total, whether we take a report or not. So to have, 9 of them listed that we took reports on for the month of December, is absolutely phenomenal. That's good job. And I'm not saying good job to the police department. I'm saying good job to all of you. That means that you all are driving safe and doing a good job. So thank you for doing that. All right. This is part one crime. Again, this is almost a whole month, December 2nd through the 29th. So this is a lot. And actually, if you look in the upper right there, look at that. Look at all those solved. Burglary, we had 1, we solved it. Theft, we had a total of 8, we solved 4. Typically, the solve rate on thefts nationwide is about anywhere from 11 to 15%. We solved 50% of them. Vehicle theft, that one got away. Arson, 1, and we solved it. So really, really good job by all of you for providing us some leads and details to go on. And then just an excellent job by our detectives and our officers really working hard to solve those. But let's take a look at what crime looked like. On the 4th, we had a package theft from a home on Monterey Drive. On the 6th, we had a shoplift of merchandise from CVS on San Ramon Valley Boulevard. On the 12th, we had a stolen vehicle, and this was overnight from Vista Drive, and it was later recovered. On the 15th in Oakland. On the 13th, we had a juvenile that was arrested, actually 2, that were arrested for unlawfully setting a fire, and this is on the 100 block of La Cuesta Drive, and it actually took place between La Cuesta and the freeway. On the 16th, we had arrest of a man for stealing, believe it or not, our bait bike from downtown Danville. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. On the 23rd, we had a theft of a flag from the Vets Hall. The flag was recovered. It was returned to the Vets Hall, and the case is going to be forwarded to the DA for prosecution. On the 24th, a theft of a purse from a parked car, and this is on the 200 block of West El Pintado Road. On the 24th, we arrested 2 more men for stealing our bait bike from downtown. And then during the apprehension, we also noticed that they were in possession of some other stolen goods that they had recently just stolen from another business in a neighboring jurisdiction. On the 25th, Christmas, we arrested 2 men after the officer saw them fleeing the scene of a theft from auto. And then on the 26th, we had a theft of bicycles from a garage. And with the good luck of ALPR, those flock cameras that are all around town, plus our detectives, we were able to apprehend the suspect and locate the property in Concord. So really, a couple of things to really know. This is really, really good for all of you, right? When we have so many thefts that are reported, and we've got burglars where people are entering your garage and taking property, and it is immediately reported, we have a much better chance of solving that crime. So again, kudos to all of you for actually reporting this. This is so great. And it gives us a chance to devote a lot of resources up front to it to try to work to solve it. Now, our arrest log, now you notice all those accidents, they fit on 1 page. All the crimes for the month, 1 page. I had to break the arrests out into 2 pages. So let's take a look. And I broke them out by DUI and essentially all other. So for the DUI arrest for the month, on the 13th, we had a person was cited on Communitas and Messian Place. On the 14th, we booked a man on the 300 block of Diablo Road. 2 more arrests on the 14th and the 29th, and these were both at Diablo Road and I-680. They were both cited. And on the 29th, we arrested a man for resisting arrest and DUI, and that was on the 800 block of Camino Ramon. A lot of, if we're arresting, 5 or 6 a month, you know that there's more out there. So please let people know, do not drink and drive. Call you if they need to. And I'll repeat what happened on college night. And I'm very, very grateful for this. College night, we saw a lot of kids. I'm saying kids, but these are 21, 22, 23 years old. Certainly no one under 20, right? But we saw kids being dropped off in Ubers by their parents, being picked up by Ubers and ride shares and by their parents. So kudos to all of you, the parents that go and say, hey, I'll come down at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to come pick up my son, my daughter, their friends, so they don't drive drunk. Let's make that blanket statement for all of our friends too. A friend should be able to call you and say, hey, I'm in a bind. I need to drive. I need a ride. Can you help me out? So thank you for doing all that. All right, let's take a look at the rest of this. On the 13th, a man was booked for a warrant, and this was on the 200 block of Franciscan Drive. On the 13th, this was that arrest of the 2 juveniles, and they were both cited to their parents, and they'll be going through diversion for starting a fire between La Cuesta and I-680. And then on the 15th, a man was cited for knowingly displaying false registration tabs on his vehicle, and this was on Camino Tas and Glasgow. What is that? It's not the plate, right? That would be different. This is actually just the little tab, the year tab. This is putting a false tab on the plate. It's actually a misdemeanor. It's like stealing from a store. And it is something that we cite for. It is considered an arrest. So again, spread the word. Please don't do it. Either don't drive, pay the fee, park the car, do something, but don't commit the crime on top of the other crime. All right. On the 20th, we had a juvenile that was cited to his parent for being drunk in public and for resisting arrest. And that was on the 3400 block of Camino Tasera. That's the Safeway shopping center out near Blackhawk. On the 20th, we were cited a man. This was for reckless driving. This was on Railroad Avenue, north of San Ramon Valley Boulevard. So if you know what I'm talking about, it's as you go north on San Ramon Boulevard, you make that left on the railroad, and it's right in front of the Pete's and then the French Masons. I call it Masons. It's the French bakery there. So it's not a good intersection to be reckless driving. So very happy that our officer, made that stop. And this is what we do a lot of times. You may not see this. And I know that you may be out for a walk, you may be out for a ride, you may be driving your car around, and you see these acts happen. In cases like this, we have to either witness it ourselves, or if it's a misdemeanor not committed in our presence, we have to have enough information that we can then cite them to that, but we can't arrest them. In this case, the officer on-viewed it herself. She was able to take immediate action and cite that person for the violation. Then we had two men, and this is our town bait bike. Two men were booked for stealing our bait bike downtown. And during that arrest, they were actually found with additional stolen property stolen from a commercial business down in one of our neighboring agencies. And then two men were booked after an officer found them having just committed theft of property from a vehicle. This is at Tasahara Ranch and Zenith Ridge. Now, this one's interesting. So at night, what you may not see, because I know I don't stand outside at night, but what you may not see is our officers are driving around. One of the crimes that we're always looking for at night is drunk driving. The other is stealing from you, right? And so our officers are out looking for cars that are maybe circling an area, maybe cars that are from out of the area that seem to be essentially wandering without any kind of purpose. Maybe a car that's got someone in it and it's idling, parked in a funny spot, like the entrance to a neighborhood, not in front of a house or something. And so we're always looking for something that looks out of place. And we're also looking for times where you all may see something. Maybe you're coming off late from work, coming back from the city, and you see something that looks out of place for you. We rely on all of you to be the experts in your neighborhood to tell us what's going on. In this particular case, this is just a very alert and good officer who's out there looking for people doing no good. That motivated offender, what I was talking about. He sees them run to get into the car and tear off out of there. He ends up making the stop, and lo and behold, they had just committed the theft. And so he was able to get the property back. So kudos to the officer. That's just good old fashioned police work. That's just being around enough to create your own luck. So good job on the officer there. And then lastly, we had a man on the 26th who was arrested for stealing property from a garage on West Meadows Lane. This is one, if you read only the initial report, if we did not have the staffing that we do, which we're fortunate that we do, and I think a lot of that goes to the contract with the sheriff, where I'm always fully staffed. We're never down people. If someone gets injured, we can rotate them back, and we can always be fully staffed, which means we have the discretionary time. So when someone commits a crime, we can do a massive amounts of follow-up. In this particular case, the man was arrested for stealing the bikes out of the garage. Again, our officer used the ALPR system, developed some leads from that. Our detectives immediately went to Concord. They were able to locate the suspect vehicle, the suspect, and some of the property and get all that wrapped up. So great job. And I think that case is actually even filed. So good job. That's someone that went into a garage. That is our residential burglary, and that's the close on that. All right, I'm going to check the chat for any questions here. Yeah, the mute wasn't so good, was it, at the beginning? Miguel said, this is great. So Miguel says, thank you for keeping Danville safe. Thank you, DPD. Here's the deal. This is a cooperative effort. It doesn't happen in a bubble. Really, we are the least important part of that. It is really all of you. It's all of you saying, hey, we want to be assertive on this. We don't want to tolerate crime. That if our officers go and they run somebody down and they handcuff them and they take them to jail, that you're going to support that prosecution. And really, it's about saying we do not tolerate that here. And I always use the house example. I'm sure you've been to some homes where, and they're friends of yours and they're kind of a mess. It's no one that watches this show because everybody's Windex on the windows and floors are clean. But think about either how your house is or that friend of yours that is everything is perfect. Like you walk into the house, you see all the shoes lined up by the door. These are the ones that are bold enough to have white carpet with kids. We've never done that. But everything is perfectly clean. You walk into that house, immediately you're taking your shoes off. Whether you do in your own house or not, you're taking your shoes off. You're being careful. You're shushing the kids, making sure they don't make a mess. All of that's going on. That's the same type of behavior we want criminals, we want motivated offenders to have if they try to come to Danville and commit crime. We want them to look at Danville and think, wow, it's not just the 30 cops, 20 volunteers and 10 professional staff. It is 44,000 people looking and pulling in the same direction. And so that's the message when we get these successes like this. It really is on all of your shoulders. We literally cannot do it without you. David, former Academy graduate, appreciate the kind words. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you on the trail, Dave. I know we've caught each other on the trail. Kim says, you will be missed. Thanks for being approachable. It's interesting that you use that word, Kim, because I was just talking to the new chief and I told him exactly the same thing. I said, if there's one thing you can do for the community, that's to be both interruptible and approachable. It makes all the difference. And that's part of the reason we do a lot of the outreach events that we do, is we want to make sure that we are approachable and that everyone knows what it is that's going on. Martha, thank you. Martha is also an Academy graduate. And I hope to enjoy my retirement. And I think the cat's a little bit out of the bag, but I am retiring from the sheriff's office, but I'm coming back to work for the town as the transportation manager. So I'll oversee transportation and infrastructure projects as it relates to, multimodal transportation. So vehicles, bikes, pedestrians and that sort of thing. So pretty exciting. Maybe not to some of you, very exciting to me, because that is the third leg of traffic safety. I have been focused on the first two for about 25 years. That's the enforcement. The 3 E's are enforcement, education, and engineering. So I've been working on enforcement and education for 25 years. Now I get to go over on the engineering side and work on that. So I'm pretty excited to go over there. It's a great team, and should be. Dave, you're funny. So Dave writes, the king of potholes. So here's what I'll tell you. Look up PCI. It's Pavement Condition Index. If you look at the town of Danville, we try to maintain a pavement condition index of about 80. And if you look at a lot of other cities, and you can do this by county, you can do it by city, they're nowhere near that. Like the condition of our pavement is outstanding. It is excellent. It is really good, which is frankly why I like riding my bike so much and running through town and all that. It's just a great place to do that because the roads are so good. Okay, so that looks like it's it for the questions. I've got both YouTube and Facebook up. So big welcome to Tom Rosberg. He'll be our new chief of police. And like I said, he's been here before, so he really understands the Danville culture. He's also very, very well trained as a member of the sheriff's office, so I expect great things of him. And he's going to do really well because he's going to look at the town through a little bit of a different lens, which will be good. So I know that he will do well, and I look forward to all of the cool things that he's going to do to continue to make Danville a safe place. Again, download the All Hazards Guide, the Wildfire Preparedness Evacuation Guide, the sign up for the Community Warning System, and make sure you go to the PG&E website. All right, with that, I'm 10:10, and that's actually the last time I'll be saying that, and that means I'm off duty. This is my last day. That's why it's on a Monday and not a Wednesday. Plus Wednesday is New Year's. It'd be a little weird to do this on New Year's. So this is my last day in Danville. I have appreciated it. I'm very grateful to have served as your police chief. It's been something that's made me very proud, and I look forward to continuing to serve the community as a transportation manager. Thank you all, and have a good night.